So have you ever found yourself maybe watching the news or seeing a protest, or maybe just noticing some kind of injustice, like those really stark inequalities we all saw during COVID-19, and you just think, I want to do something more. But how? Like, what does it really take to make lasting change happen? I think, well, many of us have seen the powerful images, maybe chanted Black Lives Matter, and definitely felt that urge to shift things.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's exactly that hunger for actual solutions, for effective ways to make a difference, that led us to a really interesting resource for today's deep dive. We're looking into the work of Dr. Rick Hoffer, specifically his course, SOCW 5328, Advocacy and Social Policy,
Hmm.
and also his book, which is called Advocacy Practice for Social Justice.
Okay.
And what's really fascinating, I think, is that Dr. Hoffer's work seems designed to, well, directly answer that question you just posed. How do you turn that passion for change into real, actual policy level impact?
Right. So the mission for us today, for this deep dive, it's pretty clear then. We want to unpack how this course, and his work generally, suggests we can equip ourselves, individuals, to actually drive policy and social change. It's
Exactly.
not just about understanding the problems, right? But about getting the concrete skills needed to really make a difference. The source material frames it as taking a big step towards changing the situation for the better and really mastering the process of advocacy. So, can you give us a sense of the core idea, the philosophy Dr. Hoffer puts forward for actually doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. And if we kind of zoom out for a second, Dr. Hoffer's main message is honestly incredibly practical. It's that, well, to change the world, you definitely need knowledge. That's crucial. But you have to couple it with strategic action.
Okay, knowledge and action.
Yes, it's just not enough to be passionate.
Yeah.
You need to know how to channel that passion effectively. The course, for instance, it really emphasizes this. It goes beyond just like the theory. It dives into actionable frameworks, like really understanding power dynamics.
Power dynamics, right?
Yeah, not just who has the power, but how they use it, and crucially, how you can influence that whole equation.
That, yeah, that really gets straight to the heart of it, doesn't it? Because I think when we talk about making change, a lot of us, myself included, can feel a bit lost. It feels so abstract sometimes. So what are some of those maybe more specific insights, like nuggets of knowledge that Dr. Hoffer's approach offers? How does he sort of break down that huge, maybe overwhelming process of influencing policy?
Well, that's where I think the real value lies. One key insight from Dr. Hoffer is his focus on what he calls strategic stakeholder mapping.
Okay, stakeholder mapping, what does that entail?
It's about identifying not just, who's affected by an issue, but really critically, who holds influence,
Yeah.
who benefits from things staying the same, and maybe most importantly, who can actually be persuaded or swayed. This is just vital for effective lobbying, for example.
I see. So really understanding the landscape.
Precisely. And another really powerful concept he pushes is crafting data-driven narratives.
Data-driven narratives.
Yeah. Moving beyond just emotional appeals, which have their place, of
Yeah.
course, but presenting really compelling evidence, evidence that policymakers can actually act on. It becomes less about, just shouting louder and more about strategic leverage, about presenting a case that actually resonates within those corridors of power.
Right, that phrase, walking the corridors of power.
Huh.
So when Dr. Hoffer uses that, he's talking about more than just protests on the street, which are obviously important,
Yes, definitely.
but also about that strategic engagement with the decision makers themselves. It sounds incredibly empowering, but I imagine it could also feel pretty daunting for people.
Oh, for sure.
Does his work also get into the inevitable roadblocks, the resistance you're definitely going to encounter when you try to walk those corridors?
That's a great question. And yes, absolutely. It's actually a fundamental part of the approach of the curriculum. The course really works to equip individuals with skills for coalition building, recognizing that, very few big policy changes happen because of just one person or one group.
Makes sense. Strength in numbers.
Exactly. It's about forging alliances, finding that common ground, even with unlikely partners sometimes, and understanding the art of negotiation, and, yes, sometimes compromise. It also specifically prepares advocates for that pushback you mentioned,
Yeah.
teaching them to anticipate the counterarguments, how to frame their message resiliently. It's really about knowing when to push hard, when maybe to pivot your strategy, and when you need to step back and build a broader base of support first.
What really struck me reading through the source material was this genuinely compelling vision it offers at the end of the day. It talks about preparing individuals to, quote, walk the corridors of power confidently, alone and with others.
Mm,
And the ultimate why driving it all, it's to keep the promise we have all made. I want to make the world a better place. It feels like a very active, very hands-on approach to that big aspiration.
precisely. I think the core takeaway from Dr. Hoffer's whole approach, and hopefully from our deep dive today, is really that simple but powerful idea. To truly make a difference, to change the world, you need both. You need the theoretical knowledge about advocacy, and you need the practical skills to actually do it. It's about being informed, yes, but also about being effective.
Informed and effective. I like that. And so, for you listening, we've been talking a lot about walking the corridors of power, this blend of knowledge and action. It kind of raises an important question, maybe something for you to think about. Where are your own corridors of power? Is
Yeah.
it maybe your local community council? Could it be your workplace where you might advocate for policy changes, big or small? Or maybe even within your personal life, your family, your friend group, where you're trying to influence decisions?
And thinking about this dual approach, we discussed the theory and the practice, right?
Right.
Understanding the landscape and then taking concrete steps. What specific knowledge or what specific actions might you need to feel confident advocating for change in those very real spaces?
Uh-huh.
Something to mull over.